This month is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and there's one addiction that's often hidden that's the highest suicide rate of all the addictions. So this afternoon we have Kapela from the Zepf Center to talk about problem gambling. Welcome to coming in the studio here and chatting with us. I've been looking forward to talking to you about this. It's so prevalent now. It's just gambling's everywhere. Where before it was just a niche thing, but now with legalized gambling, it's everywhere you look.
Well, and it's way bigger than everybody thinks, Dan, because you got to understand how much gambling is even going on in children's video games. And so let's back up a little bit. In 2012, the state of Ohio did a prevalence study, and before the casinos came, and they said that you might remember there was an old be the 95%. They said that 95% of the people who gambled did not have a problem, did not do so problematically, which means that 5% did. They redid that same study in 2017, and the prevalence rates had doubled.
Wow.
And it was 11% of people who gambled did so problematically. So about 1 out of 10 Ohioans may have a gambling problem at some point in their life, which is about 980,000 people statewide, or to bring it back home in Lucas County, nearly 3,700 people.
Well, the fact that you're director of gambling treatment, prevention, and recovery support for Zepf Center tells me a lot about it, that it's that big of an issue, that they have someone who's a specialist in that, and you deal with just that.
We actually have a whole team of people, and we have built the largest gambling treatment program in the state of Ohio. I'm a recovery guy. Gambling is part of that story, and so I think we're able to relate to people with co-occurring disorders and problem gamblings, and many people struggle with multiple addictions all at the same time. What's really sort of terrifying is the statistics from sports bettors. And when we look at other states, because Ohio is not the first, one of the statistics that stands out is that 24.5% of sports bettors at some point in their life may cross into a phase of problem gambling. Now, what's the correlation with Suicide Prevention Month? Well, problem gamblers have the highest suicide rates of all people who struggle with addictions. In fact, Zepf Center is one of the largest community mental health organizations in northwestern Ohio, and of all the client populations we have, suicide rates among problem gamblers are the highest.
Why is there more of a suicide risk? Because they get in a financial hole from gambling, the money they don't have?
You touched on it. Gambling is a hidden addiction. So an alcoholic, everybody knows he's drinking. Someone addicted to opiates, they may not know what's happening, but something is happening. Cocaine, methamphetamine, drugs, it's pretty obvious that something's going on. But Dan, I've had people sit in my office who lost $60,000 in an afternoon.
Oh my God.
Stone cold sober.
Yeah.
And then went home and had dinner in front of their wife. And you can imagine the emotional sort of crisis that people can get into. So imagine, here's just a scenario, I'm making this up, but all these things have happened. I've been gambling, and one day I have this catastrophic loss, $40,000-$50,000, and I go home and I tell the wife, and she's like, and I lost my job, and I tell my wife, she goes, "It's okay, honey, we've got the savings." "No, I'm sorry, that's gone. I gambled all that." "Well, we got the college money." "No, that's gone too." "Oh, by the way, they're about to repossess the house." And because problem gamblers, sober, can construct these elaborate houses of cards that people in drug addiction don't. And then I've worked with many, many people who were involved in felony crimes. We're going to talk next week with some judges about the amount of problem gambling that they see in their courtrooms but don't recognize it as problem gambling, because alcoholics you will find in traffic court, or heroin addicts you will find them involved in thefts, but problem gamblers are involved in bankruptcies and taking money from their employers and all those types of crimes that never get attributed to gambling.
How do you know you're in too deep?
If you suspect that you have a problem gambling, you likely do. some of the warning signs and where people sort of cross over that line is sort of robbing Peter to pay Paul. They romance all the wins and minimize all the losses. They will make up these elaborate stories of why they need money or where the money went. You know, they got paid yesterday and there's no money today, but they weren't high, or there's no reason the money should be gone. If you suspect that there's a problem and there's no other reason for these financial consequences, let's say, then, you know, problem gambling is something that people might want to consider.
Zepf Center information, I'll put that up here, show everybody.